Hello everybody, Delilah here, and today I am doing a special kind of video. It's going to be a book to movie showdown between the movie version and the book version of Nicholas Sparks' Safe Haven. I started to do a book review for the book Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks, and the more I tried to get my words out on how I felt about the book, the more I kept comparing it and comparing it to the movie. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's just silence this argument once and for all on which is better, the book or the movie. And so today we're gonna do a showdown. So before I go ahead and get started, I just wanted to throw out there's probably going to be a few spoilers. Just because of the nature of this kind of a review, I'm going to be diving into some details, and so if you haven't watched or read the movie Safe Haven, you probably won't want to watch this video until you've done so. So this is a romance story by Nicholas Sparks about a young woman who moves to a brand new town, a very small town, after a very stressful past to start anew. For round one, I'm going to be going over the different characters and what I thought about them in the book versus the movie. The very first character that I'm going to talk about between the book and the movie is the character Alex. Which one did I like more between the book and the movie? Well, in the book we have a gray-haired single dad who's just trying to make do, and we get to see all of his inner workings and his inner thoughts about how he's feeling about romance re-entering his life after the loss of his wife. And the movie, we have Josh Duhamel, a very, very nice looking man who is, it's the same character. So he's a single dad trying to get his life together after his wife has passed away. When it comes to the book versus the movie, I definitely like the looks on Josh Duhamel more, but that's that's kind of superficial. I would say that the book has just a tad bit more on the movie, just because we get to see what's going on inside of his head, what he's thinking about, and we don't really get that in the movie. So I'm gonna go with the book version for Alex. Next up we have Katie, our protagonist. Now in the book version we have young Katie, aka Erin, who is this this woman who is pretty much tortured by her past, and she's, I guess to note a difference between the book and the movie, she was a blonde who went brunette, and in the movie she is a brunette who goes blonde. I don't know if that's a big deal. To me it was just like, oh, they did that different. But as far as the book version to the movie version, I'm gonna go ahead and say that I liked the movie version better than the book version, and there's a couple of reasons why. Well, in the book version we obviously do get more of what's going on inside of her head, and that's good, but to me personally, I felt that there wasn't a whole lot to Katie. Like, what we got from her was kind of a, I don't want to sound insensitive, but she was kind of an archetype of the I guess battered woman. I don't want to offend anybody by saying that. I'm just saying that I feel like I have seen this character before, I have read this character before, and while I do have hang-ups about Julianne Hough's performance, I feel like there was a little more mystery to her, which made the story flow a little bit better. Next is the kids, Alex's kids. In the book they are Josh and Kristen, and in the movie we have Josh and Lexi. And they're played very different between the two. This is one of the biggest differences between the book and the movie. In the book we have Josh, who loves to fish, and he's a little bit younger, I believe, and he's still in that age where, you know, his dad is like this idol kind of character. So he still looks up to his dad. He he remembers his mom only slightly, and he's pretty much just okay with Katie the whole time. Versus in the movie, Josh is a little more withdrawn. He doesn't really want to forget about his mom. He's a little bit older, so he remembers his mom a lot better, and he has some turmoil over his father going back out into the dating scene. And then we have Kristen, who's just this very cute little girl who loves to play with her dolls, and she just generally loves life, and she loves Katie from the very beginning, and there really isn't that much more to her other than she's just this really lovable character. It's almost like they tell us to love her because she's young and sweet and innocent, and there's nothing else to that. Now in the movie, she's very much similar to that. She's just this very lovable little girl who really idolizes her father and loves Katie from the very beginning, and she's just this nice, sweet little adorable child that we all just want to cuddle. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the movie the upper hand on this one, just because of the whole Josh-Alex relationship. I feel like it added a lot more to the story, and in seeing the Lexi character, it was a little bit, there's a little bit more to go off of than just this character that I felt that I'm being told to really love just because she's young and innocent. And I think the movie told the story a little bit better in what they did with these two characters. The next character, without giving away too many spoilers, is the character Joe. I'm just gonna say something very short about it, and the way that I feel is that I felt in the book Joe was a little bit more real of a character. In the movie, I could tell that either they didn't give her that many lines or that many scenes, or they had to cut it down considerably to fit the time frame. And I feel like they missed out on a lot of the relationship between Katie and Joe. And I really enjoyed the friendship that they had in the book. And I feel like in the book, Joe had a little more life on her. She was really enjoyable in the movie. I'm not saying she wasn't enjoyable, but she had a little more sass and a little more life to her. She always wanted to go out and go for drinks and talk. And when things started to get a little murky with Katie and Alex, Joe just put it like it was. She just put it all out there. And she did so in the movie too, but by that time it kind of just felt like a nosy friend. Versus in the book, they just seem a little closer. And so I'm gonna have to give Joe in the book the upper hand. And finally, we're going to talk about the character of Kevin, the husband of Katie / Aaron, and what I thought of him in both. With the character of Kevin, I'm actually going to give it a draw between the movie and the book, because I feel like each incarnation of Kevin brought something different to the table. I really enjoyed the book aspect of Kevin in that we got to see the inner workings of his mind the same way that we got to see more of Alex. We got to see what made him tick and what made him go off the deep end. Some things got a little unrealistic toward the end, but I think that the building of his character, or at least what we got to see about him, did a really good job of telling us what was going on with him. I wish we got a little bit more though. I wanted to see, like, you know, how he grew up and what kind of influence his parents had on his life, the same way we got to see with Katie. But maybe that's asking a little bit too much on my end. As far as the movie, I just really enjoyed that performance out of the actor that played him. David Lyons did a really good job of balancing the whole good cop, bad cop with abusive husband, and at the same time just kind of psychotic, I really need you, unhealthy man. Like, I feel like he did a really good job portraying that role. I feel like on both accounts they took that character where it needed to go, and I am not disappointed by either. And now for round two, the storytelling. I'm just going to go over the overall storytelling method that happened in the book versus the movie and compare the two. Now, if you've read the book and seen the movie, you know that they are told in two very different ways. The movie chooses to do more of a great reveal in that Katie / Aaron and Kevin are married. They kind of build it up thinking that Katie did something bad and she was a criminal and Kevin was out to get her. And we find out, you know, towards the end that that's not really the case. And then in the book, we know from pretty much the beginning, I won't say the very beginning, but we know pretty early on that Katie is not a criminal, that she is in fact a wife that has suffered abuse at the hands of her husband, and she managed to get away. But it's told in a very slow unveiling of how exactly she got away. In this case, however, I'm going to have to go ahead and give the round to the movie, because I just think that the big reveal, though not new in any sort of way, I think that it was stronger storytelling than just the slow unveiling of information. Do I think that the slow unveiling of information isn't strong? No, I think it was pretty strong. Once again, not anything I hadn't seen before. I just think that the great reveal of Katie and Kevin's relationship, I think that was a little more exciting, a little more suspenseful than the book version. And now for round three. This is where I just talk about some of the specifics between the movie and the book version. You know, things that are specific to the movie version and things that are specific to the book version. Namely, the visuals and the acting for the movie and the writing style for the book. So when it comes to the movie, I thought that the visuals were really good. They added to the tone in every single scene. I thought that it really, it was a romantic landscape, if you will. And then when we go to the acting, however, I feel like the acting definitely could have been better. I don't think Julianne Hough is a terrible actor. I just think that she could have used a little bit more direction in this one. I'm not a professional critic in any sense of the word, but I just feel like there were plenty of times when she could have used a little bit more direction in her scene, specifically the scene where it kind of blew up between her and Alex, or Josh Duhamel, when she was waiting to get on the ferry and he came to get her. It kind of seemed like she just didn't have anything to say. Like maybe they told them to improvise, I don't know. And they were just kind of shouting words at each other. Like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere. Like, that was fine. And then she's just like, no, you can't. He is the cops. He's coming to get me. That's why he did that. Like, I just feel like those lines, there wasn't much behind them, and it made that kind of awkward, at least for me to watch. Now, when it comes to the book, I have read one other Nicholas Sparks book. I own it. It's Message in a Bottle. So I'm not 100% familiar with Nicholas Sparks's writing style, but I will say that it's generally okay for the most part. In rating it, I gave it 2 pens, simply because I just felt like it was okay. There wasn't really anything that I felt I could take from it. There wasn't anything that I felt like was really, really, really bad. I felt like certain phrases got repeated over and over and over again. I didn't mark them because I just didn't want to be too nitpicky about it. Sentence variation and word variation is a blessing in writing. You can say one thing in many, many different ways. But yeah, between the book and the movie, there really isn't one winner here because they're totally different. So it's more or less a draw. But I just thought that the movie had some parts that were good and the book had some parts that were good. So now I'm gonna name a winner. Who won this showdown? Was it the movie or the book? And the winner is Okay, you might have already guessed. I'm giving it a draw. Because I just feel like both the movie and the book brought two different things to the table, meanwhile telling the same story. And I thought that that was fantastic. But overall, since this was supposed to be a book review and not a book to movie showdown, let me just say really quickly that I enjoyed this book. I gave it 3 stars and 2 pens. I would suggest this to anybody who loves romance, anybody who loves Nicholas Sparks, and anybody who's never read romance before. I think I would give them this to read because I think it's a nice introduction to what you can expect in romance novels. So that's it for my book to movie showdown. I hope it wasn't too disappointing that it ended in a draw. What did you think of that video? This is my first time ever doing that. I'm wondering if you would be interested in seeing something like this again, because I do tend to like watching movies and reading books and comparing the two, even though I think they should stand alone on their own. And can I just say, side note, I think the book and the movie of Safe Haven do a great job of standing alone on their own 2 feet and being separate from each other. But aside from that, what did you think of this particular means of reviewing a book? Did you like it? Did you hate it? I'm cool with either way. Let me know what you think below and I will get back to you. I will see you next week. Don't forget to leave a comment and I hope you have an awesome day. Have a good one, guys. Bye!